No one is coming, and you need to hear this right now. The world does not reward need. It only rewards power. You can wait for a message, for a call, for someone to see your potential. But the screen stays dark, the door stays closed, and the clock keeps ticking. If they were going to come, they would have come long ago. No knock on the door, no hand pulling you up, only silence, and a truth that grows sharper by the minute. It's all on you. You were taught that pain brings compassion. The truth? Pain is only noticed when it makes a profit. Your suffering has no market value. You're not abandoned. You were never even considered. But this is not a tragedy. This is an opportunity. From this moment, no alliances, no begging, no waiting. You don't cry. You calculate. You don't explain. You disappear. Focus, strategize, and return like a storm, unseen, unstoppable. If for the next 90 days, you remain absolutely silent, what changes first? Them or you? When you accept the truth that no one is coming, something inside you ignites. You stop waiting, you start building, and by the time they need you, it's already too late. Because in silence, you have turned to steel. You are waiting. A message, a call, a nod from someone who sees your potential. But the screen stays dark, the door stays closed, and the clock keeps ticking. Deep inside, you already know the answer. If they were going to come, they would have come long ago. No knock on the door, no hand reaching down to pull you up. Only silence, and an awareness growing louder. It's all on you. You were trained to wait. You believe that if you are kinder, louder, harder working, someone will notice. Someone will lean down into your dark pit and pull you into the light. The brutal truth? Most people are still drowning in their own pits. They don't have time to see you sinking. They do not praise quiet growth. They only react when results are already on the table. And by the time you have results, you no longer need them. You are not weak for wanting help. You are weak when you expect it. Others can smell waiting in your voice, in the way you explain yourself. In the moment, you ask permission to continue. And when they sense that, they don't owe you respect. You want to be understood, but how can they understand you when they haven't understood themselves? You want to be healed, but they are still bandaging their own wounds. You want recognition, but the world only recognizes destinations, never the messy journey. The paradox is here. By the time you become someone worthy of notice, you no longer care who is watching. Look yourself in the mirror and ask, what am I teaching the world to do to me? Every time you wait for judgment before you act, you sink another hook into your skin. Every time you explain yourself, you lower your own standard. Every time you ask permission to exist, you sign the contract to be ruled. No one is coming. And that is the gift wrapped in sandpaper. From this moment, you must write your own laws. Do not beg. Reconstruct. Do not chase the gaze. Create the vision. Do not stand at another's gate. Build your own door and open it with the key you forged yourself. If you understand this, comment below. I show up for myself. Everyone says, focus on yourself, but no one tells you the truth. Focus is war, not scented candles, not a few pages in a journal, not a week of detox for your feed. Focus is a silent slaughter between what you want right now and who you want to become. You don't become dangerous by speaking louder. You become dangerous by disappearing from the crowd and returning as a version no one anticipates. Focus is not the search for peace. Focus is deliberate aggression. Each time you say no to the world, you say yes to your evolution. Start by cutting the noise. A phone, silent as stone. An inbox opened only 2 windows a day. A non-negotiable list of 3 tasks. No progress posts, no excuses. No fishing for sympathy. Just do. Deep enough so no one can quickly guess what you're building. You don't need to be liked. You need depth. You don't need others to know. You need results that force them to adapt. They will laugh. Where did they go? What's the fuss about? Let them laugh. They don't see the nights you fracture old habits at 3 a.m. They don't hear the instinct demanding cheap pleasure when you lock into structure. Focus is violence. It kills the loud, harmless version of you to make room for someone few speak much of, but none can dismiss. It isolates you, not because you are better, but because you no longer pretend to be them. You don't need updates. You don't need proof. You only need a cold system. Each morning the same, to the point of cruelty. Each night closed like an audit. Each week, a small product placed on the table. They think you fell behind. Let them think it, until they realize you have gone so far they cannot reach you. If you focus for 30 days, as if your life depends on it, what will fall first? Old habits or social pressure? Focus is a filter. It filters you from the eyes craving recognition, from meaningless invites, from the habit of being busy to feel important. You no longer choose the entertaining option. You choose the right one. If you stay silent 90 days, no posting, no showing off, no explanations. Do you dare let results answer for you? Remember, every no you speak today is a signature into your future. Every minute you turn off notifications is a vote for your scarier self. Every hour sitting alone is another pour of steel into your spine. The day someone asks, "Where did you go?" you only smile, "I went to work," and you need say nothing more. If you are ready to focus, comment, "Right enough, consistent." Discipline is not loud. It doesn't need a post. It doesn't need a soundtrack. It doesn't need applause. Discipline just happens, in the dark, at hours no one witnesses, and it quietly changes everything. You think discipline is waking up early. Wrong. Discipline is standing up when your mind begs you for 10 more minutes. You think discipline is going to the gym? Wrong. Discipline is lifting the weight when your faith has hit the floor. You think discipline is a tool? Wrong. Discipline is a weapon. The quieter it is, the sharper its blade. Morning comes. Your hand rests on cold steel. The smell of rust touches your nose. Your breath fogs the mirror. No one films that moment. But that moment is what forges you. No drums, no applause. Only you and your non-negotiable list. When you lose, discipline says, "Stand up." When you win, discipline says, "Continue." When you're tired, discipline says, "One more round." When you're happy, discipline says, "Don't break the cycle." Discipline is the graveyard of the weak self. Each day, you dig a small grave. You bury a bad habit, close the lid, and walk away. No funeral, no goodbye. Just one more X in your journal. You will be called extreme, rigid, unbalanced. Let them call you that. They don't know the feeling of cutting off cheap dopamine at midnight. They weren't there when the alarm rang at 5 a.m. For the first and last time, discipline makes you lonely because weakness loves company. Discipline makes you misunderstood because clarity irritates people. Discipline makes you cold. Good. Ice keeps steel from warping. People say, listen to your feelings. Listen, but don't obey. Feelings are weather. Discipline is architecture. Weather shifts. Architecture stands. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a ruthless cycle. Do right, repeat. Today, like yesterday, 1% deeper. Tomorrow, like today, 1% sharper. Don't wait for inspiration. Set rituals. Rituals drag you through the foggy days. Rituals keep you on the path when reasons dry out. When you're tired, whisper one question. Do I want the pain of discipline or the pain of regret? The perfectionist asks, how much is enough? The disciplined one answers, on time is enough. It knots of store in, it's setly harder grammed in the scream. It not my carrot is. Remember, Perfection comes after consistency. One day, you're no longer trying to be disciplined. You are discipline. The body wakes itself. The hand writes by itself. The feet walk into the gym by themselves. The mouth rejects useless invitations. All because you have reprogrammed yourself. You don't need praise. You just need the empty table after the list is crossed off. You don't need others to know. You only need the things that appear. A product, a page written, a different body, a different account. When someone asks, "What's the secret?" Don't lecture. Just say, "Right, enough consistent." Then return to work. If you understand that discipline is freedom, comment, "I am discipline." You think you're free, but a single furrowed brow, and your voice changes, a cold look, and your step changes, a vague criticism, and your decisions change. That isn't politeness, it's emotional slavery. Slavery to the nod of others. You say, "I just want to get along." The truth? You're asking for permission to exist. You have turned the invisible crowd into a court in your head. Every sentence becomes a trial. Every action, an appeal. You cannot lead while needing to be loved. You cannot build truth while fearing to be hated. You cannot be respected when every choice must pass through the filter. What will they think of me? The philosopher Epictetus said, if their critique is true, fix yourself. If their critique is false, ignore it. End of story. No argument, no explanation, no waiting for them to change their minds. But approval addicts cannot do that. They post, then delete, because the likes weren't enough. They speak truth, then dull the blade, so they won't cut anyone. They shrink themselves to fit a mold they should have stepped out of long ago. This addiction is subtle. It wears the clothes of kindness, decency, empathy, but underneath is the fear of being rejected, and that fear controls you. Ask yourself, if tomorrow nobody approved of you, would you still dare to act? What's the antidote? Rejection. You must vaccinate yourself against being liked. You must walk through some "they don't like you" moments and still stand. Start with 3 simple tests. Test 1. Truth test. If your truth makes you hesitate, you are still a slave. Test 2. Presence test. If you withdraw before the confident person, you are still a slave. Test 3. Freedom test. If you over-adjust around someone you admire, you are still a slave. And here are 3 laws that cut to the root. Law: no explanations. Explanations are leaving your mountain to argue with insects in the valley. You lose altitude the moment you step down. Law 2: no reactions. Every reaction is a power contract. You pay energy, they gain leverage. Law 3: no updates. The curious feed on your process. Pull the oxygen, they shut off. You will be called arrogant, unpleasant, cold. Accept it. The price of autonomy is the label others slap on you when they no longer control you. From today, replace the need to be liked with clarity. Clarity on standards, clarity on boundaries, clarity on goals, then silence, then work. If you are ready to quit the approval addiction, comment, no explanations, no reactions, no updates. It's approve them. The weak think silence means losing. The wise know. Silence is the moment the balance of power tilts in their favor. Every time you speak, you reveal your inner map. Every time you react, you step into someone else's frame. But when you stay still, the room begins to wonder, what is he thinking? What will she do next? Their uncertainty becomes your leverage. Picture an afternoon. Your name is dragged into a twisted story. Everyone waits for your rebuttal, but you don't type a single line. You just keep delivering on time. Days later, the story dies for lack of oxygen. Your results spoke for you, without a word. Another meeting. Someone throws bait. It still sounds vague. You don't snap. You breathe in. Count to 3. Then drop a framing question. What are the evaluation criteria? And where's the deadline? From emotion, you drag everyone back into structure. The room changes ownership. In your inbox, someone pushes, "Update us on the progress." You don't narrate the journey. You just send the delivery milestone. Short, clear, no justification. The door is shut. No one enters the story you're building. Proper silence is a ritual. First, create strategic pauses. Before responding, count to 3 in your head. Before replying to a hot email, wait 3 hours. Before a big decision, sleep 1 night. Pauses kill reflex. When reflex dies, power lives. Second, cut the oxygen from chaos. Don't feed rumors with updates. Don't explain further to those just performing. Don't hit send when your heart is still racing. Silence doesn't feed chaos. Chaos starves and dies. Third, pin 1 closing line. A single sentence sharp enough to replace an argument. We are following criteria A, B, C. The next step is X. Deadline Y. I'm ready to continue when data is available. Say it once, then stay still. Remember, silence is not immobility. You still act. You still write, still deliver, still measure. Silence is only the channel. Work is the real voice. If for the next 7 days you don't react by instinct, but only respond with criteria and results, what changes first? Them or your heartbeat? You will be misunderstood. Accept it. One day, they'll learn the new rule. You only speak when it matters. You are not a peacock flaunting feathers. You are the shadow of a tower. And when your shadow stretches across the floor, people adjust their posture as they pass. That is power without words. If you understand the strength of silence, comment, "Silence plus results equals respect." There is a kind of presence that silences a room, but there is also a kind of absence that unsettles every mind. You withdraw your light from where it's being wasted and let them feel the darkness themselves. You pull your attention from meaningless conversations and let them suffocate without oxygen. This is not a game. This is energy conservation. This is self-respect as a standard. This is the right to choose, not to show up where it's unworthy. Constant presence cheapens you. Well-timed scarcity raises your value. You don't disappear to sulk. You disappear to reevaluate your worth. Picture 3 everyday scenes. Scene 1. Work. Before, you were always available. Every message made your heart jump. From today, you set a corridor. Only 2 response windows per day. Outside of that, silence. 1 week later, your heartbeat slows. The noise vanishes. Only results remain on the table. Scene 2. Relationships. You used to be the firefighter on call. 1 phone call, and you rushed over. Now, you write a boundary. I am no longer available on demand. If it's truly important, state the goal and the deadline clearly. Many disappear. A few stay. And learn respect. Scene 3. Social media. You shut off 2 platforms for 2 weeks. No stories. No endless scrolling. Each morning, instead of swiping, you pour concrete into a brick. A page read, a line of code, a small product. By day 7, the restlessness fades. By day 14, your spine straightens again. Disappearing also needs a process. Step 1. Audit access. Who holds the keys to your time and mind? Did they earn it? Step 2. Close the gates. Do not disturb mode. Block notifications. Delete shortcuts to bad habits. Gate closed. Energy stops leaking. Step 3. Scarcity schedule. You are not available anytime. You have clear windows. Outside of them, everything waits. Step 4. Hide the journey. Reveal the destination. Don't broadcast every step. Only show up with a product. Fewer words, solid output. Step 5. Re-entry rule. When you return, no apologies, no explanations. Let the results speak for you. You will be labeled cold. Wear that label as armor. You will be called distant, good. The harder the access, the higher the value. If you withdraw from all unnecessary conversations for 14 days, what collapses first? Their fake concern or your old habits? Remember, sometimes an empty chair weighs more than the person sitting in it. When you're absent, the room still spins on the orbit you set. That is the power of disappearing. If you understand that disappearing is also leverage, comment, absence is power. You disappeared, not to be remembered. You disappeared, to return as a new version. The day you come back, you bring no flowers, no apologies, no explanations. You bring results, and a silence heavy enough to make the whole room adjust itself. You step in, the air shifts before you speak. The loud voices drop a notch. Eyes that once scorned you suddenly look away. You don't need to raise your voice. You only need to stand tall. Remember, if you react, they know they can still touch you, so you do not react. You set the frame. Someone asks with a jab, "Where did you disappear to so long?" You smile, look straight. What's the next task? And where's the deadline? From private drama, you pull them back to criteria. From curiosity, you pull them back to work. The field changes hands with a single sentence. From now on, you are no longer the explaining version, no longer the person present everywhere. You become the quiet version, but with weight. You no longer follow other people's schedules. You move to the rhythm of the mission. 3 rituals when you reappear. Ritual 1. Posture. Shoulders down, chin light, eyes steady. Breathe in through the nose. Exhale slowly through the mouth. The body speaks before words. I'm here to work, not to recount what I did. Ritual 2. The closing line. Always carry one framing sentence for every meeting. What are the criteria? What is the scope? And what is the next step? This line cuts off all rambling. Ritual 3. Cold handoff. You place the product on the table, then quiet. If there is pushback, demand 3 things: example, criteria, and an alternative proposal. If they cannot provide all 3, the discussion ends. You will be nudged to tell stories. Don't tell. You will be pulled into emotional conflict. Don't enter. You will be provoked to prove you've changed. Don't prove it. Let consequences speak. If you reappear today without uttering a single justification, who in your life will lower their eyes? Who will keep their back straight because they understand the new rules? You do not need to fill the gap with explanation. Let the gap do the work. The gap makes them wonder, compare themselves, correct themselves. You do not return to be welcomed. You return to set the standard. No one needs to like you, but everyone will adjust themselves when near you. If you are ready to return as a version no one expects, comment, return to rule. You were not born to fit the mold. You were born to reset the mold. The day you stop begging for a seat is the day you start building the table others must bend down to sign on. This is not about revenge. This is pure focus. So absolute it becomes an extinction event. Noise dies. Old habits die. False. Mentors die. And what remains is only you and the work. You don't need to beat them. You only need to render them irrelevant. You don't take the market. You become the market. You don't fight for the mic. You design the stage. True focus doesn't add. It subtracts. It subtracts you from petty comparisons. Subtracts you from vanity games. Subtracts you from the busy to feel important trap. But it adds one thing, one unit of skill, one brick of asset, one on-time delivery. and it multiplies into credibility, leverage, influence. Don't swerve. The crooked road is the toy of the impatient. The straight path may look unimpressive in the first 2 weeks, but by week 13, you are irreplaceable. Frame the next 6 months as a replacement campaign. First, cut 3 cheap dopamine drains. No, just a little for fun. Cut them all. Let your brain be debt-free. Second, 3 non-negotiable tasks a day. Few, but heavy enough to pull you straight. Finish. Close the day. No padding, just to feel busy. Third, 1 digital asset per month. A small module, a simple product, a short case study, not a life project. Just a brick, enough bricks, and the wall stands. Fourth, 1 meeting you frame. Don't walk into their room. Build your own with 3 questions. What are the criteria? Where is the scope? Who holds decision power? Whoever answers stays. Whoever cannot leaves the table. Fifth, 1 scheduled disappearance. Every 4 weeks, withdraw from all noise for 2 weeks. No stories, no updates, no announcements, only delivery. Sixth, cold measurement. Each night, 5 short lines. What did I do today? How long? Level of focus. 1 slip, 1 adjustment for tomorrow. No self-praise, no self-blame, just correction. If for the next 6 months you walk straight without missing a day, what vanishes first? Excuses, or the better than you names in your head. You'll be called obsessed. Good. Obsession, in the right place, is the architect of power. You'll be called cold. Good. Your heat belongs in the forge, not the crowd. People clap for speed. You build depth. Speed creates noise. Depth creates gravity. And gravity is what makes rivals stop talking about you and start orbiting around you. Don't count how many saw it. Count how many things stop running if you step away. If the answer is too many things stop, you are still holding work, not building systems. Systems are the true shape of power. If you understand that long-term focus makes competition unnecessary, comment, I am the replacement. Real power does not need to step on stage. It builds the stage, then sits quietly off stage and lets the play unfold to its script. You learned silence, you forged discipline, you disappeared, then returned. Now comes phase 2, accumulating power. No more fighting for voice, only leverage. Start in a familiar room, a morning meeting. Before, you entered to persuade. Today, you enter to set the frame. You send 1 page in advance. Objective, criteria, decision deadline. The meeting runs on rails. No matter how strong the opinions, they must pass through the filter you installed. You don't win by louder speech. You win by the map. Power isn't about winning once. Power is creating the orbit. No rallying cry needed. Just design the default. And what is set as default wins for the long haul. Embed this rule in your head. Whoever designs the frame holds power. Another lesson. Power is not in credit. Credit is noise. Influence is the circuitry. The attention seeker claims, I did it. The powerful smile. And let the system speak. One day, you are not present, but decisions still fall into the correct groove. No one is sure you pulled the strings, yet everyone still follows. Your name does not echo, but your frame is everywhere. This is not injustice. It is the sign you have rooted into the structure. Want to know how your power is growing? Watch for these signs. You speak less, but are asked more. You are absent, yet people still use your language. A chaotic meeting suddenly runs on rails. Because you sent 1 framing page, people copy your method without naming you. Yes, your power has left the person. It has entered the system. If you disappeared for a month, what would still run and what would wither? What dies? Turn it into documentation. What runs? Raise the standard. That is how real power grows. No noisy presence required. You are no longer the person in the room. You are the shape of the room. People come and go, but your frame remains. If you understand that true power doesn't need noisy presence, comment, "I am the frame." You have withdrawn. You have restructured. You have returned. Set the standard. You have built systems so things run, even in your absence. Now, you no longer need to speak, because your silence already speaks. You walk into the room. Without being told, people lower their voices, not because you are harsh, but because your gravity was set long before. Clear criteria, clear scope, clear timelines, where your rules exist. Noise disappears on its own. People will wonder, what have you been doing all this time? You don't tell the journey. You place results on the table. If discussion is needed, you return to 3 questions. What are the criteria? Where is the scope? What is the next step? Then silence. The quieter you are, the heavier the force. Silence is no longer avoidance. It is the shape of power when power matures. You are no longer the person in the room. You are the condition of the room. Those who once tried to drag you into emotional swamps will tire first. They breathe through your reactions. Now the oxygen is gone. Those who once stood ahead of you on the old stage will fade. You don't chase. You change the stage. Look back. You'll see a clear line. Focus, discipline, silence, disappearance, then the return. Standards, systems, leverage, invisibility. Every step needing no crowd. Every step sinking deeper into the structure. Tomorrow, you may not show up, yet decisions still fall in the right grooves. Others may not remember your name, but they think. Within the frame you set, that is legacy, not remembered, yet obeyed. If tomorrow you were completely silent, what would still run, and what would collapse? You don't need applause. You only need a room quieter, clearer, truer. Since you walked through it, that is the summit of silence. Not speaking, yet still heard. Not present, yet still obeyed. If you understand that true power lies in the final silence, comment, "I am silence." They have there is sopa like for e. It's not the applause that makes a legacy. It's the footsteps behind you, changing rhythm. The world may pretend not to see, but they feel it. When they test their words before they speak, that's the frame you set. When they pause half a beat before a decision, that's the criteria you installed. When a room suddenly grows quieter, clearer, truer, that is your silence doing the work. You are no longer the one hunting for a place to stand. You are the ground they are forced to stand on. You are no longer the name waiting to be mentioned. You are the unstated rule they cannot dodge. You walked a path with no cheers. Focus to the point of solitude. Discipline to the point of cruelty. Silence to the point that others must correct themselves. You disappear by design. You return with results. Then you step back, so the system runs the lines for you. And now, you do not need to appear to rule. You do not need to speak to be heard. You do not need to be remembered to be obeyed. People will ask, "Are you still here?" The answer is, no need, because when the structure is set, whether you are present or not, is a detail. One day they will whisper, "Who changed the rhythm for us?" No one will be certain, but everyone will follow. You are not the king on a throne. You are the condition of obedience. They walk the road you paved. They speak the language you built. They think they chose. But their choices were placed in the frame beforehand. This is not magic. This is the art of disappearing at the right time, appearing for the right work, and letting the system speak for you. When you leave the room, your shadow remains. When you stay silent, your law keeps running. Do not demand to be seen. Be the default. Do not fight for a role. Change the role. Do not wait for your name to be written on the wall. Write the architecture beneath that wall. Then disappear. Let the world grow used to your gravity. If you understand that silence is the supreme legacy, comment, "I am gravity." And remember, this journey is not finished. In the next video, we will go deeper into the strategies that turn the weak into those who set the rules. See you in the next battle.